They're so cute. They're my first family. My boyfriend gave it for me on my birthday. I love them. Look at her, she's so cute. So I'm gonna start with this book that I am reading right now. So I've read already one for 2025, which was a little book of Audrey Hepburn. It was this little fashion book about Audrey Hepburn's style. I mean, I love her, she's an icon. And now I'm reading this, which is Tender as a Night by Scott Fitzgerald. This is amazing. I am just at the beginning of it and I'm already in love with the books that I read for 2024. I just didn't really like them. And I think that's why I didn't read as many books as I wanted to. But for this year, I am praying that I just pick good books, or at least like really easy books to read. So if I don't like it, I can just like, you know, skip it. But this book, oh my god. So this is about Rosemary. Rosemary is a 19-year-old actress. She's just beginning her career. She's from middle class, but because of her success, she's now beginning to experience the life of the rich, and she's in the French Riviera with her mom. And this is where she meets the divers, Dick Diver and Nicole Diver. She falls in love with Dick. And he's older, he's got a wife, and that's it. This is what I've read so far. You know, I'm just... Look at my wonderful bookmark. But yeah, this is what I've been reading so far, and this is about, you know, society. It's a classic Fitzgerald one. I didn't really love Great Gatsby when I read it, but this is a Lana Del Rey song. I'm just picturing so many songs while I'm reading this. Amazing, perfect, great way to start the year. So in fact, I'm reading other 3 books. I only believe in polyamory when it comes to reading. I read like 4 books at a time because I like to mix non-fiction with fiction, because if I only read non-fiction, then I'm not gonna read it all. I'm gonna get bored, and it's better to read and to like change books when I'm not in the mood for something. So yeah, this one is The Chronicles of Narnia, The Horse and His Boy. I really want to read the entire collection. So C.S. Lewis was really inspired by the Bible, and when you read Chronicles of Narnia, you understand these whole biblical references, and it's so wonderful. I love it. The next book is How to Make Friends and Influence People. Yeah, I'm only at the beginning of it. I'm not loving it. I don't like nonfiction. You already know that. But I have to read this. I really, really need this in my life. Next book is Love Letters by Fernando Pessoa to Ofelia Queiroz. They were lovers. No, they're not lovers. It was worse than that. Much worse. So Fernando Pessoa is this very popular Portuguese writer. He wrote mainly poetry, and that's what he's mainly known for. But these are the letters that he wrote to Ofelia Queiroz, and she also wrote him letters. They're not really interesting, and I think that's a huge problem when it comes to these types of works, like letters, something that's very personal and wasn't meant to be seen as art. So the reason for me to really, you know, want to read this is that they just treat each other in such like cutesy, cringy ways, like my sweet little bad baby. Like, it's in Portuguese, but it's kind of like the translation, and it's really funny to see such, you know, a serious writer and such popular Portuguese writer do this, but it's not that interesting. It's a bit boring. Their relationship wasn't that interesting. So Fernando Pessoa died a virgin. Yeah, you can really guess the rest. A Certain Hunger. This is about cannibalism, and it's about Dorothy Daniels. She's a food critic, and I guess human flesh is going to appear somehow. I don't really know the story. I know that she meets several men. I hope she eats them. I don't know, but I really like cannibalism. I read one book about cannibalism last year, Tender as the Flesh. It wasn't great. I was entertained for sure, but the ending, it was a maybe for me. But this one, I'm very excited, and the cover is just absolutely beautiful. All of the books that you're going to see are books that they were popular last year or 2 years ago, and everyone has read them, but I haven't. I'm always late for trends. That's just something that happens with me. This is Solaris by Stanislaw Lem. This is a science fiction book, like this elevated science fiction, and it's about this planet that is this big ocean, and it sort of has this conscious. The planet itself is a form of life, and the main character, that I don't know the name, he goes to space to explore the planet, but the ship that he goes to with other astronauts is haunted. And he gets haunted by a past lover, wife, I'm not sure. I actually gave this to my boyfriend, and he read this like super quick. We tried watch the film by Tarkovsky, but my boyfriend fell asleep like every time we tried to watch it, so I just gave up. Then we have 50 math ideas, and I think this is such a weird book for me to pick, and people that know me wouldn't really guess that I would be interested in this. However, it is mainly because of that I chose. So I'm not good at math, and I don't like math because I'm not good at it. And that is a huge mistake, a big one, huge. So I believe that usually, especially just because I'm not good at something, I just try to give up on that, and I say I don't like it, and I'm okay with it because, oh, I'm good at doing other things. Wrong. I should have tried to love math and to love physics, all that area that I'm just not naturally good at, or I just don't have this intuition with it. I should have tried to be better, or at least to be good, even though it's hard. And so now I want to learn more about something that I've ignored for so many years. That's why I'm reading this book. I am not familiar with this collection by Greenfinch, but I know that they like pick 50 ideas about several fields like politics, fashion, math, and they just gather in a book. I don't know how beginners friendly this book is, because once again, I am very, very bad at math. But if anything, I'll just ask my best friend, ChatGPT, for help, and yeah, hope I can become a genius by the end of the year. Next book. This was a Christmas gift. It's Women in Love by D.H. Lawrence. I had no idea what this book was about, so it's two women in love. Who would guess? Okay, so it's Sister Ursula and Gudrun. They're teachers at a little town, and they fall in love with two different men, and I think it's the consequences of them in love, how maybe they change as a person. I'm really guessing because I have no idea what this book is about, but it was a gift, and the cover is so lovely. The person who actually got me this bought it because of the cover. That's so sweet. Next book, Night Witch. I've been meaning to read this for so long. The film has come out already, so I have to read this quick. Actually, after I read this, I want to read this because I want to watch the film as fast as I can. I don't want to get any spoilers. So this book is about a artist who had a kid, so she's now only mainly focused on that, and she feels like she's lost herself as a person with pregnancy and being a mom. And I guess that at night, she kind of transforms herself into something. I don't want to say what it is. I know what it is because I've watched the trailer. She begins to lose her mind because, I mean, she lost who she was during pregnancy, which is so sad. I hope this is not a free birth control. I hope not. Breasts and eggs. I actually started to read this last year, at the beginning of the year, but for some reason, I stopped. Like, I think, yeah, like it's here, another bookmark with a little picture of me. I had no idea why I stopped, but this was interesting, but I don't think I was that entertained, possibly. But this is about 3 Japanese women, Natsuko, Makiko, and Midoriko, and it's about their relationship. So Makiko wants to get a boob job. Midoriko, her daughter, stopped talking, and Natsuko, I don't know much about her. That I don't know. I really like Japanese fiction, and especially how they write characters. It feels different from what the Western does. It feels like they have more layers. I think they usually care more about characters than the plot, and I think this is what the book does, just focuses on the characters. This is theater. This is Greek theater. I had this book for so many years. I've read 1 play in it. So this is by 4 Greek theater writers: Aeschylus, Sophocles, Euripides, and Aristophanes. Aristophanes wrote comedy, the other ones, they wrote tragedy. And this has Prometheus, Electra, Antigone, and the Vesps. I've read Antigone for a class a few years ago. I'm very interested on reading Prometheus because it's very rare to have Greek plays now who survived, who were written with Greek gods and Greek mythology in it. I love Greek culture and mythology and theater. I mean, I studied theater, so I kind of have to like it. And actually, I want to make a video about this, possibly. It would be a difficult video to film. It would require a lot of reading, much more than this, but I will try. This Bible is 3 Deaths by Lucas Andrade. This was a Christmas gift from a year ago, 2023. I have not touched this. I'm sorry. But this is about a man. He has grown up poor, and he was born in Alentejo, which is in the interior of Portugal, and he moves to Lisbon, and it's how he deals with poverty, how his life transforms. So everyone told me that it's very devastating. It's very well written, apparently. A lot of people have recommended me this. My entire family loves this book. Poor things. She's literally me. I got this for my birthday last year. I have not read this. So many books here. So I'm trying to just focus on books that I've already purchased. I mean, I gotta read them instead of buying new ones. This year I bought a lot of books because I traveled to Hawaii and London. So I got a lot of books that I just can't really find in Portuguese bookstores that easily. That's why I have so many. But this book, this is about Bella Baxter. We all know the plot, I guess, because of the film. So she's kind of this creation by Godwin Baxter. We understand her backstory, and she wasn't created by him. But she gets on this little odyssey where she explores herself as a woman, her sexuality. She gets in these adventures. She goes to Lisbon. Lisbon girl. But I don't know how different the book is from the film. It has these little drawings in it. They're so cute. There was a vajayjay here. I'm not gonna show, obviously. I don't think I can because it feels very different from the film. I want to see how the director was inspired by this. I think this one is probably the only book that I'm not excited to read. Not at all. So Boy Parts, I got this in Hawaii, Barnes & Noble, and this book is just so popular, or was so popular last year, that I really wanted to get this. Now, I've done a bit of research on this, and honestly it feels like American Psycho from Temu. I wanted to get this because of the character, Rena. She felt like she was similar to my Year of Rest and Relaxation character, but I don't think so. I think she's just stupid, and I don't know. Why am I hating on this book so much? Maybe I'm even gonna like it. I don't know, I just feel like I won't. And the writing, for what I've read and searched for, sounds a bit immature. And sometimes I can forgive that. For example, with Bunny, the writing itself is very amateurish, but the plot is nice, so I don't think this is just not well written. But I want to explore girl horror. Maybe not a video on that, but so, yeah. I'm so excited for this. So this is Other or Order by Vladimir Nabokov. Vladimir Nabokov has become, I think, my favorite writer, even though I've read only 2 books of his, Lolita, obviously, and Pnin. And I do love Vladimir Nabokov because of the way he writes the characters. They are all so iconic. So, you know, Dolores, Humbert, Pnin, they're so well written. They have this charm to them. There's so many layers to them. It's so interesting. And this is about incest. It's not a spoiler. It's like one of those things that you just know. It's about 2 cousins, Ada and Van. And yeah, there's a certain romance, and they end up finding out things about their past and their family that just makes everything worse. Just everything worse. This, for me, is the Russian version of Maias. So Maias is another popular Portuguese novel that everyone has to read in high school, and it's about incest, and it's like a family history story with incest, lots of it. And I feel like it's just gonna be this. I want to read everything that Nabokov writes. Then we have Days of Abandonment by Elena Ferrante. I have to read Elena Ferrante. I've never read anything of hers, and I've recommended Elena Ferrante because everyone just tells me it's such a great novelist and author. I have to. And I read a bit of this and I was deeply interested. So this is the story of a woman after her husband leaves her for a younger woman. And it's her days after that, the days of abandonment, where she feels desperate and lonely, and she starts to see herself in a different way because she lost something that was so meaningful for her, you know, a husband. But I also think that she gains her own identity after this loss, which makes a lot of sense. This feels like a wonderful book that I'm really going to enjoy and really get emotional. The Year of the Monkey by Patti Smith. I read just Kids and I loved it. The way she writes, especially in autobiography, she writes it so well. It's difficult. I mean, she had a really interesting life. That's a big pro. But I still think it's very difficult to read about your day-to-day life. You're not a character, even though, I mean, it's New York, you're full of artists. But still, I think she writes wonderfully well. And this Year of the Monkey, a friend of mine read this and she told me that this was kind of like a fever dream. I know that it's her traveling. And this was actually, the traveling part was one of my favorite things about Just Kids. When she was traveling to Paris, She wrote what she was seeing. I don't know, I really like that part of Just Kids. And this is just that. I think it's just her traveling. And she goes to Lisbon. So yeah, I'm excited to read this too. Nadja by André Breton. It's a surrealism novel. I've read one book by Breton called L'amour fou, Crazy Love. It's difficult to explain what that book is. It's difficult to understand it too. I mean, it's surrealism and Breton. But I think that this book, for what I've read, it's about Nadja. So Nadja is this woman that the main character meets. They have this encounter that for him means a lot and it's very magical. And he gets obsessed with her. And also she's a very peculiar woman. She kind of embodies this manic pixie dream girl vibe. Is she the first manic pixie dream girl? I think so, maybe. That's what I've heard. And yeah, he gets a bit crazy over her. Crazy in love, l'amour fou, once again. Mixes reality with dreams, and you don't know what is true anymore. Feels really, really interesting. Another Bible, The Unabridged Diaries of Sylvia Plath. Another Christmas present from 2023 that I have not touched since. And I do have a sort of an excuse for that. So this is huge, right? I can only read this at home. I could take it to the subway with me. Not super comfortable with that because it's just huge and heavy and it's just not practical. So I have to read this at home. And at home, I usually am doing other things. I mean, I'm with my boyfriend, so I don't know, we're watching a film instead of reading. We have to read more together. It's something that we like to do though. He reads a lot, like he reads much more than I do, at least faster than I do. I envy him. But this, The Diaries of Sylvia Plath, I have to read this. This feels like such a deep, emotional, and interesting journey on her soul. Reading diaries can be tricky, especially because I mean I've said my opinion on letters. I think that journals can go in the same category where it was just not meant to read, so it's a bit unreadable. I hope it's not the case for this. Then I have Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. I've read Pride and Prejudice, did not enjoy it. However, this one sounds really, really exquisite. So, Northanger Abbey is about Catherine Morland, and it's her first experience in fashionable society. And there's a lot of merging with Gothic novels. I feel like this sort of like is a satire to the genre, and it's very funny. It says here that it's her most optimistic novel, which great. It sounds really entertaining, really funny, and I love Gothic novels. I love that genre, so I think this will also be hopefully a favorite, or at least enjoyable, because Pride and Prejudice, Ladies and gentlemen, him, Henry Miller. I love this man so much for Tropic of Cancer. I hope that Tropic of Capricorn is just as good. What is Tropic of Cancer about? So it's kind of autobiographical. So it's about Henry Miller's life in Paris. And this is the same thing, except it's New York. It's a different city, different people. Not as many horrors, I think, because that's it. With Tropic of Cancer, there really isn't a plot, just vibes, and the vibes are horror, syphilis, and disgusting things. But he writes in such a beautiful way, and he transforms that into beauty. And I think that's so special. That is so important in art. I love that. I love disgusting turn into beautiful and something that's delightful. You're very obsessed with it because you know it's kind of like you're not supposed to be looking, but you can't stop viewing it. Same with this. Like you shouldn't be reading this, but you can't stop. And it's not the most approachable novel. It's not the most approachable book, but I think it's worth it for its beauty. I mainly love this for the writing, not for the plot itself, I think. Tropic of Capricorn, I hope it serves the same thing that Tropic of Cancer did for me. Two last ones. It's the Iliad and the Odyssey. Okay, let's be honest. Am I gonna be able to read all of this in 1 year? Probably not, because I try to. I really, really do. I don't know, I go to bed super late and I wake up super late and I can't really read during the night because I get sleepy. I'm gonna try to read 25 books for 2025. It would be a first, but we're starting off the year good. But with the Iliad and the Odyssey, these two chunky, thick little books, I mean, you know the plot. I don't have to explain the plot of these two novels in here, but they're a must. I know the story, I've studied them, I've read a bit of them for high school and college, but I want to read the full thing. And the Iliad, I wasn't really into reading this a few years ago until I played the character Andromache in a play, and I fell in love with her and her relationship with Hector, which is the only respectful relationship between a man and a woman in ancient Greece. Hector is the most wonderful, respectful husband. There's one chapter that I think it's dedicated to them in the Iliad, and I want to read that because of them. They're so wonderful. Last book, I don't have it with me right now, but it's Anna Karenina. It's super big. I've started reading it. I was enjoying it, very much so, but it's just impossible for me to take it to the subway, which is where I read the most, so I just stopped. Everyone says that Anna Karenina, it's confusing and difficult to read. I don't think so. I just think it's too big, and that's why it's so scary to read, because the characters, although they all have different names, you kind of get used to it. And if you have this little, paper with you with all of their names and their nicknames, then you can just check that out and see, okay, this is who they're talking about. And it's not confusing, and it's not difficult to read the language. The most difficult book I think I've ever read was Pride and Prejudice. I'm Portuguese, I don't read that well in English, and that was confusing. I didn't understand half of it. That's it, that was the video. I'm so obsessed with them. They're so cute. I love them. But yeah, I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I need to have better equipment, better light, a microphone. Forgive me, I'm still an amateur. And yeah, I need to get a camera. But yeah, thank you so much and goodbye.